Okay, we're, we're gonna be doing some journalistic science. All right, and so here we go.
Notice what happens when you leave your car parked outside on a sunny day with the windows all the way up, right? Even if it's not that hot outside, the temperature inside your car goes way up compared to the surrounding climate outside of your car. That's essentially the greenhouse effect. You know about it, right? You learned about it in 5th grade. The heat easily gets in, but it can't get out, which is essentially what's happening to our planet right now. So what do people do? Well, they get thicker windows or they add a dark film to their car, right? Same goes for our bodies. We try and prevent sunburn by wearing sunblock so the sun can't really get in and do damage. Well, think about this. What if we could come up with something like that for our Earth's ozone layer? With more on that concept, News with Rick Sanchez correspondent Michelle Greenstein is here to tell us about this. Okay, so it's a new concept. Sounds like the way I described it. What is it?
So this proposal is to use solar geoengineering to reduce temperatures. In essence, it's a way to mitigate some of the risks that climate scientists are saying will come from CO2 emissions. So in essence, it's actually an alternative to lowering carbon emissions. And some see it as a magic bullet in this way, where we can curb the effects of CO2 emissions while continuing to pump millions of tons of CO2 into the air.
But the way I described it was we need to come up with something that blocks all this from getting in. Is this, how are they going to block it?
Exactly, yes, it is. So this type of geoengineering uses sulfur dioxide. We're going to inject that into the stratosphere. Sulfur dioxide is the stuff that comes out of volcanoes when they erupt. So when a volcano erupts, there's actually a lot of dust and gases that blot out the sun. So these Harvard researchers, these scientists are saying that we can mimic what happens after a volcano eruption to reduce temperatures. And the way they're going to do that is airplanes. They say a fleet of specially designed aircrafts can literally spray sulfur particles into the lower stratosphere, and they're saying, hey, dozens of nations already have the money to do so.
Wait a minute.
Doesn't that sound like acid rain?
What you just described is a way of slowing down, if not preventing, global warming?
Yeah, I mean, let's not mince any words. What we're proposing here is launching aerosols into the air. So historically, there's been a problem with this, and critics of this type of geoengineering say, look, no one really knows how to control it with accuracy. This could easily disrupt climates around the world, inevitably leading to winners and losers, with some regions suffering greater harm. But now these researchers are saying it can work without some of those anticipated side effects like extreme rain and hurricanes. They're saying that this work challenges that assumption.
Won't they make it darker? Won't it be like night all the time?
Yeah, and that's the question. Do we have the right to a blue sky?
That's a great question.
That should be a public debate.
What about, finally, I think we're down to like 30 seconds or so, but tell me, how much is this going to cost?
Okay, so these researchers say it'll cost $3.5 billion to launch, and then $2.25 billion every year after that.
Wouldn't that be worth it if it's actually able to slow down global warming?
I mean, true, but do we want to put that kind of power in certain hands? That's all, up for public debate. And, some people are saying, hey, maybe it's cheaper to just bioengineer humans so that we have a conscience, that we stop polluting so much.
Fascinating conversation. I'm glad you brought that to us. That's really good news.
Thank you.
I love it when we can share good news with. I'm Rick Sanchez. You found.
All right, and do some condensation. There we go. So I did this one the other day.
That's a condensation trail.
Notice how it's not getting longer than that. Oops. And cancel. Go back. Go back. I said go back. That's an awful one. Contrail, also called a condensation trail. No, I just showed you a condensation trail. Look, how many meditates are there? Chemtrails hold ingredients to make thermite. That's true. Chemtrails finally explained. He's writing this today. 1 month ago, 1 year ago, let's see. So 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Here.
Spray it up here too.
Virginia, though. I've been doing it even longer than that. 5 years. Even longer. And that's what I would suggest to you people is freaking, well, all those ingredients right there for thermite. But I strongly implore you just to put in like a headline or something like that, a tagline, and be like, medits, like I said, into chemtrails. I know I've got more on here. The Young Turks, the real truth behind the chemtrails. You know what? We'll give them a shot.
One of the conspiracy theories that just won't seem to quit is this idea that's out there that the government is spraying chemicals out of the backside of airplanes to control the population or change the climate or test weapons or infuse us all with Viagra or create a race of half-human, half-monkey hybrids. I don't know, there's a lot of different theories. It's easy to generate all these different theories when you have no evidence to base any of this on. And that idea is out there, and it's called chemtrails. These contrails in the air of white evaporated materials and that sort of thing. People believe there are sinister backgrounds to it. A lot of people believe that these are real. In fact, 17% of respondents back in 2011 in an international survey said they believed the existence of a secret large-scale atmospheric spraying program to be true or partly true. 17%, that is literally millions and millions of Americans believing that it exists without any evidence whatsoever. However, it turns out that people reading
besides looking up in the sky and noticing that things are different,
conspiracy theory websites aren't the only ones with information to bear on this subject. There are actually scientists who study this sort of thing, who study the atmosphere, and now there's a study to leverage their expertise. The study published by
and a study is nothing more than freaking a bunch of scientists being paid off to freaking create media spin.
Environmental research letters found that the two groups of experts surveyed, atmospheric chemists who specialize in condensation trails and geochemists working on atmospheric deposition of dust and pollution, overwhelmingly rejected the notion that such a program exists. Out of 77 participating scientists, 76 said they found zero evidence of a secret spraying program, adding that any evidence supposedly cited by those who subscribe to the chemtrail theory could be explained away by poor data sampling and/or normal contrails. There was one guy who said that he found too much barium in one area at one point, and so he couldn't totally rule it out. The other 76 were fairly sure about this. And here is all too often what we find, that you have a group of people who have studied for years or decades in an area, understand how information is gathered, they understand the field, and then there are other people looking.
So why do you brush off that barium statement? The one guy, but, he was strong-armed, into being, what's that word? It's plausible but not provable and such.
In from the inside and suspecting that things are there which actually are not. And as in so many other cases, that is the case here. These people study this stuff. They are contrails. That's all they are. They're water vapor. They're not Viagra. They're not a weapon. They're not changing the climate. And one of the people involved in the study, talked a little bit about why they felt this was necessary at this point, saying, "I felt it was important to definitively show what real experts in contrails and aerosols think. We might not convince diehard believers that their beloved secret spraying program is just a paranoid fantasy, but hopefully their friends will accept the facts." And if I seem a little bit harsh, or if Ken there seems a little bit harsh, it's because believing in theories like this not only leads to a generalized sense of distrust in the government, but you should have that distrust aimed in the right direction. And if you're too focused on contrails to notice the very real sorts of corruption going on in government, then your passion and your vigor and your ability to change things is going to be spent in the wrong areas. And I agree with him. Even with this evidence, even with all the climate scientists and the aerosol studies and the deposition people and all of that, there are some who will not be convinced, either by this evidence or the fact that for the chemtrail theory to exist, for the conspiracy to have existed, it would involve literally thousands or tens of thousands of people operating in every state in the country over the course of decades, under both Republican and Democratic administrations, from the people at the very top making the decision to spray us with all these chemicals.
Ever hear of the Manhattan Project? That was a nuclear program in which we created the atomic bomb. And there was tens of thousands of people working on that project as well. And some of them died, not even knowing what their job was, because it's called compartmentalization. And so, here, I'll just do this one.
I haven't made a chemtrail video in a while, but spraying the fuck out of us today. This whole freaking haze. This isn't clouds, yo. This ain't clouds. Right there, those be some clouds. That X.
I missed that freaking car. So let me see if I can finally explain them.
See a cloud on top of Mount Rainier, an actual cloud, and then this. I mean,
Sucked, huh? Oh my god.
Motherfucker, he's spraying. Look up. See, they're spraying. They're spraying us. All these chemtrails. Look at this. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Polluting us. They're polluting us. I mean, we see? Look at this. Look up. Look up. There you people.
I'm awesome sometimes. Catch this beautiful sunrise.
Yeah, see, they're spraying. It's so hard to tell with the sun in the way. But, look at that. They're spraying us. Look, they're spraying us. Look, all this chemtrails. Look, they're freaking going at it like crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 of them I can see. 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 freaking planes freaking spraying us right now. At least.
Isn't this kind of going with, the program they were just talking about on Russia Today with Sanchez and whatever? A whole fleet of them or whatever. And so, yeah. Anyways, let's see, where we gotta go. Hold on a second.
We continue now with our series from Antarctica. The ice-covered continent is being transformed in part by climate change. Antarctica's ice, which contains the vast majority of fresh water on Earth, is melting at an accelerating rate.
We don't need to watch the entire thing. You can go check it out for yourselves. Hold on a second.
How can you make McDonald's hot and delicious?
NASA lying to us. What is happening? Antarctica is gaining ice? What? Global warming? How? everyone, thanks for tuning in to D News Today. I'm Trace. Commonly during these climate change, global warming conversations, people point at the horizon and shout, the polar ice caps are melting. But guess what? They're not. NASA says so. In fact, according to new research, Antarctica has gained so much ice, it's overbalanced for the ice that the continent has lost. From 1992 to 2001, the
What? Are we getting conflicting reports? I think we are, huh?
One of Greenland's most observed glaciers shocked scientists recently. According to NASA, it has gained ice, despite being the world's fastest melting glacier. It's believed to be one of the largest contributors to ocean.
And
I believe I'm stuck using a map right now, but anyways, I'm just gonna have some fun with y'all. So, Antarctica has been melting since the 1800s. First thing I see, new paper indicates Antarctica has been gaining mass since 1800. And that was March 30th, 2017. Then right below it, melting of Earth. Well, I typed in before, but what's the first thing that came up? What's the first thing that came up? Who the hell is this guy?
Morning, everybody.
Alright, go back. Go back. Anyway, listen, I need to get my... So, Adam, use on polar ice, world threat. If atomic energy develops enabled scientists to melt the entire ice cap of the Antarctic continent, ocean levels throughout the world would rise up to 100 feet and inundate large sections of the world's coastlines. Noted Antarctica explorer Sir Douglas Mawson said today. Sir Douglas Mawson commented on a statement made by Melbourne last week by Dr. P. Law, officer in charge of the Antarctica Division of the Department of External Affairs, that the development of atomic energy in the Antarctic would be the scene either of the future international rivalry or cooperation. Someday atomic energy plants might be used to melt the ice off large sections of the land, so it could be scientifically exploited, doctors said. I don't know what that is. Sir Douglas Mawson said the melting of ice would undoubtedly expose mineral deposits of great material value to the entire world. He added, we mustn't forget the project would certainly transform the climate of the southern hemisphere. The probable effect on Australia would be intense.
And, here I am now thinking about this. And, Antarctica's been pretty much a secret all these years and such. It'd be stupid for them to be using a bunch of fossil fuels down there. They have the means to utilize nuclear energy, using nuclear power plants to cool their reactors. And that's how they can control the resources and everything. There's so many deposits in Antarctica. Antarctica is huge. It's absolutely huge. So there's probably oil reserves there. And that's the thing is that, they just try to get us being, to be crazy people. They just try to get us to be crazy. Because one person remembers this one news article from way back when, and then all of a sudden there's this new one that's out, but then, and that's the thing, they just keep us battling in these debates instead of actually looking at the points like I do. And this is called journalistic science. This is how we do research, people. Because friggin', I'm gonna end it with I'll show you what I'm going to end it with. UN Weather Weapons Treaty. It should be like 1770 or 1977. Yeah, it opened in Forcentra on 18 May 1977 in Geneva, and entered into force on 5 October 1978. The convention bans weather warfare, which is the use of weather modification techniques for the purposes of inducing damage or destruction. U.S. Air Force. Oops. Where is it? Without seeing it. In 1972, this is a response to a request, September 22nd, 1971, for certain background information on cloud seeding activities carried out in the United States under programs supported by the federal agencies pursuant to the specific questions contained in your request. Be directed review. Oh, and I should also say Operation Popeye. We'll get into that one real quick too, because the time of the treaty is right after Vietnam. Federal agency at the cost purposes of such programs on the impact of cloud seeding on precipitation and severe storms, and on the types of chemicals used for seeding and their effect on the government. We also obtained data concerning the extent of cloud seeding conducted over Pennsylvania. Our review is conducted at various federal department agencies. Here, hold on a second. So from 1959 to 1970, total 11 years, was $74 million. Estimated cost for fiscal years 1971 to 72 totaled about $35 million. So just 2 years, they pretty much doubled the budget of what they did, for over a decade. Well, Our research involved weapons supported by federal agencies includes development of mathematical models of African condition and study. Alright, hold on a second. I don't want to bore you. Okay, so we're in some of the meat and potatoes of it. So, the effects of seeding on temperature of the cloud, the number of nuclei present in the area of the cloud on which nuclei are added. In addition to being used for increasing and decreasing precipitation, seeding is used for influencing the type of precipitation and the electrical phenomena in a cloud. Such influence provides electrical very message views from either the air or the ground. In aerial seeding, flares containing silver iodide, the most commonly used seeding material in the United States, are ignited and dropped from a plane, and or propane generators attached to the wings of a plane are used to burn acetone with silver iodide to produce nuclei, which are delivered at controlled rates into the cloud. And generators are also used to send generators. So they do it from the ground too. Alright, cloud. Okay, cost for cloud seeding, which is an integral part of the federal agency's thing. So basically, terminal at separate costs. Seating costs vary depending on the delivery system used. Aerial seating, which makes extensive use of computers, radar, and aircraft, is generally recognized to be considerably more expensive than ground-based seating. Air Force officials associated with the Air Force's weather modification program estimated that exclusive cost for personnel and capital investment, the outlay cost of seating with the ground-based generators was about $50, and for aerial seating was about $647.50. Experiments involving seeding summer cumulus clouds under Project Skywater started in 1965. These experiments involved aerial seeding of cumulus clouds with silver iodide, salt, dry ice, or urea to induce additional rainfall. Oops. Go back. Best document available. Such experiments included cloud seeding over Arizona, Oklahoma, and Texas in 1971 to alleviate drought conditions in those states. Oh, and that's the other thing too with those doctors or those scientists that did that study for the Young Turks broadcast. Where were they told to go? Like that's a big thing. So, this is a pretty interesting document. But they're mainly talking about silver iodide. Let me see. What was I going to look up? I just saw Operation Popeye. There's that one. It was highly classified weather modification program in Southeast Asia. It was basically, used to float out, they extend monsoon season to float out the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And, and that's what pissed me off about freaking college and stuff is that I was trying to, do my paper on the military's impact on the climate. But I was being told that this information didn't exist, even though I was using the school's database. So, yeah, I hope that you all, I want you all to think for yourselves, because I learned from other people and everything like that. And what I'm trying to do is just, I'm showing you where I get my information from. I'm showing you that I can back up my data, like that. I'm not a noob to this crap, and that's the thing I'm actually thinking about writing on my own New Deal. Only it's not going to be called the New Deal. It's going to be called something else. But, and just to show people that, to show the world that people like Alicia Ocasio-Cortez, whatever her name is, and it doesn't belong in office, and that friggin' pretty much any monkey, with a heart can be part of the government. The problem is that we have a bunch of heartless freaking, I don't even, well, they're not earthlings. That's all I can say. Take care, be safe, be kind, stay strong, and do your freaking homework, people, because I'm going to check it.